The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde. High above the city, on a tall column, stood a statue of the Happy Prince. He was gilded all over with sea leaves of fine gold. Twice he had two bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his forehead. He was very much admired indeed.
Wow. He's beautiful as the weather comes.
Remarked one of the town councillors, who wished to gain a reputation for having artistic tastes.
But not quite useful, no?
He added, fearing lest people would think him unpractical, which he really was not.
Mama! Why can't you be like the Happy Prince?
Asked a sensible mother of her little boy who was praying for the moon.
Never dream of applying for anything. I'm glad there's someone in the world who's quite happy.
Muttered a disappointed man as he gazed at the wonderful statue.
Wow, he looks like an angel.
Said the charity children as they came out of the cathedral in their bright scarlet cloaks and their clean white pinafores.
Angel, how did you know?
Said the
You've
mathematical
never seen
master.
one.
We have in our dreams.
Answered the children.
Dreams?
And the mathematical master frowned and looked very severe, for he did not approve of children dreaming. One night there flew over the city a little squirrel. His friends had gone away to Egypt 6 weeks before, but he had stayed behind, for he was in love with this most beautiful reed. He had met her early in the spring as he was flying down the river after a big yellow moth, and had been so attracted by her tiny ways that he had stopped to talk to her.
I love you.
Said the squirrel, who liked to come to the pot once, and the reed made him a low bow. So he flew round and round her, touching the water with his wings and making little ripples. This was his courtship, and it lasted all through the summer. After they had gone, he felt lonely and began to tire of his lady love.
She has no conversation. I am afraid that she is cold-cut, for she always flirting with the wind. I admit that she is domestic, but I love traveling. My wife, consequently, should love traveling also. Will you come away with me? You have been traveling with me. I am out to Pyramid. Goodbye.
And he flew away. All day long he flew, and at night time he arrived at the city.
Where shall I put on? I hope the town has made reparation.
a child is standing on the concrete.
I will put up there. It's a fine position with plenty of fresh air.
So we alighted just between the feet of the happy prince.
Oh, I have a golden bedroom.
He said softly to himself as he looked around, and he prepared to go to sleep. But just as he was putting his head under his wing, a large draught of water
What's a
fell
curious
him.
thing? There is not a single cloud in the sky, and yet it is raining.
Then another drop fell.
What's it a hero status if it cannot keep the rain up? I must look for a good chimney pot. Who are you?
I am the happy prince.
Why are you weeping then? You had quite threatened me.
When I was alive and had a human heart, I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace of Saint Sophie, where sorrow is not allowed to enter. I played with my companions in the garden, and in the evening, I led the great dance in the great hall. Round the garden ran a very lofty wall, but I never cared to ask what lay beyond it. Everything about me was so beautiful. My cocktails called me the happy prince, and happy indeed I was. It gave pleasure, the happiness. So I lived, and so I died. And now that I am dead, they set me up so high here, so that I can see all the ugliness and the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, I cannot choose what to read.
What? Is it not solid gold?
He was too polite to make any personal remarks out loud.
Far away,
Continued the statue in a low musical voice.
far away in a little street, there is a poor house. One of the windows is open, and through it I can see a woman sitting at a table. Her face is thin and worn, and she has coarse, red hands, all wrinkled by the needle, for she is a seamstress. She is embroidering blossom flowers on a satin gown for the loveliest of the queen's maids of honor to wear at the next court ball. In a bed in the corner of the room, her little boy is lying ill. He has a fever and is asking for oranges. His mother has nothing to give him but river water, so he is crying. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not bring me out of my soft mute? My feet are fastened to the pedestal, and I cannot move.
I waited for ages. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep in the tomb of the great king. The king is there himself in his splendid coffin. He is wrapped in yellow linen and embalmed with spice. Round his neck is a chain of palm green chain, and his hands are like withered leaves.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not stay with me for one night and be my messenger? The boy is so thirsty, and his mother so sad.
I don't think I like boys. Last summer, when I was staying on the river, there were two rude boys, the miller's son, who were always throwing stones at me. They never hit me, of course. We swallow fly far too well for that. And besides, I come from a family famous for its agility. But still, it will make up disrespect.
But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swan was
It's
sad.
very cold here, but I will stay with you for one night and be your messenger.
Thank you, little swallow.
So the swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. He passed by the cathedral tower, where the white marble angels were sculptured. He passed by the palace and heard the sound of dancing. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover.
How wonderful the stars are, and how wonderful the power of love.
I have my breast to be ready in time for the stable. I have ordered on it to be embroidered, but the seamstresses are surprising.
He passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging to the mast of the ships. He passed over the gather and saw the old Jews beckoning each other and weighing out money in copper scales.
Tay quanh cái tủ đi. Tay quanh cái tủ. Tủ khăn đèn tháo xe. Ok. Money. Oh no. Ba chi mu no why. Tủ thật rồi, tìm đi tháo xe. Gì sai rồi. Nhẹ. Đi sai rồi. Tủ hết điện. Bao quanh cái tủ. Nhẹ, tại quanh cái tủ, bay quanh cái tủ biết. Good. Tủ xe nhẹ đi, tháo xe. Tủ hết điện, bay. Quay lên cái nè. Nhẹ. Hơi đi ớt. Nhẹ.
At last he came to the poorhouse and looked in. The boy was tossing feverishly on his bed, and the mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired. In he hopped and laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble.
Oh no!
How can I feel? I must be getting better.
Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done.
It's curious, but I feel warm now. Although it is so cold.
Yeah, that's because you have done a good action.
And the little swallow began to think, and then he fell asleep. Thinking always makes him sleepy. When day broke, he flew down to the river and had a bath.
Oh, very nice stuff.
Said the professor of ornithology as he was passing over the bridge.
What a remarkable phenomenon! A swallow in winter. I need to write the report right away.
Tonight, I go to Egypt.
Said the swallow, and he was in high spirits at this prospect. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince.
Friend, have you any commission for Egypt? I am just starting.
Swallows
My friends are flying up to the second cataract. The river holds cold cheer there among the bulrushes, and on the red granite throne sits the gold melon. All night long he watches the stars, and when the morning star shines, he utters one cry of joy, and then he is silent. At noon the yellow lions come down to the water edge to drink. They have eyes like green barrels, and their roar is louder than the roar of the cataract.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow. Far away above the city, I can see a young man in a garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in a tumbler by his side there is a bunch of winter violets. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as pomegranates, and he has large and dreamy eyes. He is trying to finish a play for the director of the theater, but he is too cold to write anymore. There is no fire in the grate, and hunger has made him faint.
I will stay with you one night longer. Shall I take him another ruby?
Alas, I have no ruby now. My eyes are all that I have left. They are made of rare sapphires, which were brought out of India 1,000 years ago. Pluck out one of them and take it to him. He will sell it to the jeweler and buy food and firewood and finish his play.
Dear Prince, I cannot do that.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow. Do as I command you. Do as I command you.
So the swallow plucked out the prince's side and flew away to the sailor's garret. It was easy enough to get in, as there was a hole in the roof. Through this he darted and came into the room. The young man had his head buried in his hands, so he did not hear the flutter of the bird's wings. And when he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire lying on the withered violets.
Wow! A sapphire! This is from some great admirer. I am beginning to be appreciated. My work can be done.
The next day, the swallow flew down to the harbor. He sat on the mast of a large vessel and watched the sailors hauling big chests out of the hold with rope.
Hip boy! Hip boy!
I am going to Egypt!
Cried the swallow, but nobody minded. And when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince.
Prince, I come to bid you goodbye.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow. You must stay with me one night longer.
It is winter, and the chill snow will soon be here. In Egypt, the sun is warm on the green palm trees, and the crocodiles lie in the mud and look lazily about them. My companions are building a nest in the temple of Bambas, and the pink and white doves are watching them and cooing to each other. Dear Prince, I must leave you, but I will never forget you. And next spring, I will bring you back to beautiful jewels in the place of those you have given away. The ruby shall be redder than a red rose, and the sapphire shall be as blue as the Red Sea.
In the sway below, there stands a little match girl. She has let on her match fall in the gutter, and they are all spoiled. Her father will beat her if she does not bring home some money, and she is crying. She is very, very, very poor. So pluck out my other eyes and give it to her, and her father will not beat her.
I will stay with you one night longer, but I cannot look out your eye. You would be quite blind then.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, do as I command you.
Okay.
So he plucked out the prince's other eye and darted down with it.
Next, please. Please.
He swooped past the matter and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand.
Wonderful. My God. What a lovely piece of glass. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Swallow.
Cried the little girl, and she ran home laughing. Then the swallow came back to the prince.
You are blind now, so I will stay with you always.
No, little swallow, you must go away to Egypt.
I will stay with you always.
On the next day, he sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen in strange lands. He told him of the red ibises, who stand in long rows on the banks of the Nile and catch goldfish in their beaks. Of the Sphinx, who is always the world's itself and lives in the desert and knows everything. Of the merchants who walk slowly by the side of the camels and carry amber beads in their hands. Of the king of the mountains of the moon, who is as black as ebony and worships the last crystal. Of the great green snake that sleeps in a palm tree and has 20 priests to feed it with honey cakes. And of the pygmies who sail over a big lake on large flat leaves and are always at war with the butterflies.
You tell me a marvelous thing, but more marvelous than anything is the suffering of men and women. There is no mystery as great as misery. Fly over my city, little swallow. Tell me what you see there.
So the swallow flew over the great city and saw the rich making merry in their beautiful houses while the beggars were singing the days. He flew into dark lands and saw the white faces of starving children looking unwisely at the flash trees. Under the archway of the bridge, two little boys were lying in one another's arms to try and keep themselves warm. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen.
I am covered with fine gold. You must take it off, leaf by leaf, and give it to my poor. The living always think that gold can make them happy.
Leaf after leaf of the fine gold, the swallow picked off, till the happy breeze looked quite dull and grey. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played games in the street.
then the snow came. And after the snow came the frost. The streets looked as if they were made of silver. They were so bright and glistening. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he could not leave the prince. He loved him too well, but at last he knew that he was going to die. He had just strength to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more. Dear prince, goodbye. Will you let me kiss your hand?
I'm glad that you are going to Egypt at last. You have stayed here for too long. But you must kiss me on the lips, for I love you.
It is not Egypt that I am going. I am going to the house of death. Death is brother of sleep. It is not.
And he kissed the happy prince on the lips.
내 사랑이 비가 되어 흘러내린다. 온 세상을 모두 빨갛게 물들인다.
And fell down dead at his feet. Early the next morning, the mayor was working in the square below in company with the town's councillors. As they passed the column, he looked up at the statue.
Oh my God! Look how shabby the happy prince is.
How shabby indeed!
Cried the town councillors, who always agree
Look.
with the mayor.
The ruby has fell off from his source. His eyes are gone, and he's golden no longer. In fact, he is little better than a beggar.
Little better than a beggar.
And look, there is a dead bird lying on his feet. We must issue the proclamation that birds are not allowed to be die here.
So they pulled down the statue of the happy prince.
And he is no longer beautiful. He is no longer useful.
Said the art professor at the university.
Director, come here, come here.
Everybody!
That's too long. Let me do it by myself. Get out.
We must have another statue. Of course, it will be mine.